Hi, I'm Rick Anthony, and welcome to the Someone You Should Know podcast, the podcast that focuses on musicians, authors, and interesting people. We like to say we're making a difference one artist at a time. So sit back, have a cold one, and get ready to meet someone you should know. I often get asked where I find the guests for my Someone You Should Know program. Now, many are musical friends of mine that I've known over the decades. Some I meet at concerts, and some are submitted to me through the website. And then there are those rare ones, like a chance meeting in a coffee shop in New Buffalo, Michigan. And that's how today's guest was introduced to me. Will you please welcome the mastermind behind the band, Runner and Bobby, Parker Bailey. Welcome aboard, Parker.
How's it going, Rick? Thanks so much for having me.
Very good. Now, last March, my wife Leslie and I were having lunch at a nice little coffee shop in New Buffalo, Michigan called It's a Vibe Cafe. And sitting next to us were Parker's parents, Mike and Amy. We struck up a conversation. They were telling me how great you are as a musician and such. And I said, well, I got to get him on the podcast. Here it is a few months later. I'm so glad we got you on the podcast finally.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I mean, my parents were equally as stoked. They're like, we met this awesome guy in a coffee shop. He does radio. He's a huge music business. So I'm excited it worked out.
No problem, but I'm glad to have you. First off, I want to pass on congratulations for graduating. Where'd you graduate from?
Thank you. I appreciate it. I graduated from Denison University, which is in kind of central Ohio.
Okay, very good. And in a degree in what?
I graduated with a global commerce major and then a music minor.
Wow.
So like a pseudo music business, I guess.
Awesome. Very good. This guy is prepared. Now, how did your interest in music begin? Let's talk about your influences and let's talk about how'd you fall in love with music?
Sure. So I started playing guitar when I was 8. I kind of had a deal with my parents where I had to play for a year and a half. I just had to. That was the deal. So from then I really came to love it and enjoy practicing. And by the time I got to high school, I was songwriting and had started a band. Was performing basement shows and garage shows. We played an awesome Halloween show one time. Obviously recording a ton of stuff, releasing. And then I graduated high school, started Runner and Bobby, and then it's kind of just been this ongoing project since.
What was the name of your first band? I always loved asking that question because they're usually bizarre.
Yeah, it's pretty tame in terms of, I guess, content, but it's The Spins, but there was another Spins, so we're like, oh, we need to be different. So we took out the space. So it's like it looks like Thespins.
Thespins.
So great for marketing, you know.
Okay, very good. You could put SPINZ.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. Yeah.
Exactly.
And, all right. Now you play guitar, bass, keyboard. You sing. You also create music videos and cover art. So you are quite a creative individual. I have to ask you, the origins of the name Runner and Bobby. Where did that come from?
That was kind of an interesting thing. I came home kind of late one night, and as you're falling asleep, there's kind of this cool thing that happens, or for me at least, is I think as you're kind of chilling out and your brain's mellowing, you get all these ideas, and it's like just as you're about to fall asleep, you have to decide, am I going to get up and write this down, or am I going to go back to bed and just forget it? And so I kind of turned over and I wrote down Runner and Bobby on a note, and then I woke up in the morning and it was there, and I was like, that's kind of a cool thing. I like the rhythm of that. And I think where it comes from is I was listening to like King Cool at the time, which is this British artist. He uses the word Bobby as like a cop.
Okay.
It's like an old, like old, like, I don't know, old slang.
Gotcha.
And so I think I was pairing that Runner and Bobby picture as kind of I guess a cops and robbers thing, but you kind of have to respect the unconscious in a way. So I wrote it down and I woke up and it was there. So I thought that's kind of cool.
That is cool. And here's the other thing about Runner and Bobby. I actually got this from Pink Floyd when they started saying, which one of the members' name is Pink?
Yeah.
So they ask you, are you Runner or are you Bobby? And when does the other one show up?
Yeah, I get that a lot, which is cool. You know, it's just like, because I didn't even think about it like that in like a Simon and Garfunkel way. But now I have a new opportunity to kind of play with that because I play with 2 other people. So someone's Runner, someone's Bobby, and then someone's I guess.
You're the ampersand.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, Prince had the symbol and everything like that. Well, you're the ampersand. You're part of our band. Okay, it's music time. We're going to talk about a brand new EP that you've got called Maui Tapes a little bit later in the show, but I have to address something that our listeners probably do not know about unless they're on Spotify. The first song we're going to feature from Runner and Bobby was actually recorded a while back, and as of the recording of this show, over 3,396,000 listens. I am blown away.
Thank you.
That floors me. The song is called "Fall for Her," Nobody Else. Congratulations on the success of the song. I got to find out, what is the story of the song, and what are your thoughts on that many spins?
It's kind of crazy. I kind of look at it sometimes and I'm like, it's weird because I feel like I've kind of paid my dues a little bit with all the spin stuff because I released like 37 of the spins and then 10 more or like 21 to Runner and Bobby before I got that. But that was a cool song. It came pretty quick. I worked with the producer at the time and they had the music. And then I came with lyrics and it just was naturally, and we just put it out immediately. With the worst marketing plan ever. So the fact that it has that many is pretty bizarre. And I got to say that's so frustrating because I'm so process oriented. The fact that just like you threw it at the wall and stuck is crazy. But I'm very thankful for it. And I do love that song.
Did you get anything from Spotify saying, hey, congratulations on, 1 million, 2 million, 3 million, anything like that?
Not that I can remember. I don't think so. But it's cool to track and cool to see, and I'm definitely very proud of it. So.
Now, here's a suggestion I have for anyone who happens to be listening to this. Now, this is going to be a great song you're going to hear in a couple of minutes, but the thing is, even with 3 million spins, poor Parker's only making a couple bucks from Spotify. So here's the big thing. Make sure you buy it, you download it. That makes him a couple extra bucks, and hopefully he'll have 4 million spins by the time we get finished with this show, okay?
Yeah.
Okay, with over 3 million spins, we're going to add one more to it. Here is Fall for Her, Nobody Else, from Runner and Bobby, featuring today's podcast guest, Parker Bailey.
When I think tomorrow
Okay, with over 3 million spins, we just added one more to it. That is Fall for Her, Nobody Else from Rudder and Bobby, featuring today's podcast guest, Parker Bailey. Before we continue, I'd like to say, everyone, thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of the Someone You Should Know podcast. We are on the web at someoneyoushouldknowpodcast.com. There you're going to find our recent news, our archive of past episodes, and a whole lot more. Plus, we invite you to go ahead and leave a review. Let us know how we're doing. If there's something we should change or something you really like, we'd like to know about it, okay? We're also blessed to reach so many cities around the world. Thank you so much for listening in Fond du Lac, Wisconsin, and Tampa, Florida, and Lisbon, Portugal. Thank you so very much for tuning in as we continue our interview with Parker Bailey. I mentioned earlier your latest EP is called Maui Tapes. It came out in March. Was this recorded in Maui, or a vibe that you were just trying to convey, or just a name you came up with, like Rudder and Bobby?
It's it's kind of funny. So last summer I was in Nashville doing an internship, and I was in an apartment very similar to this. And the whole summer I was like kind of chasing ideas and trying to do something every day to practice. And so I also came up, what I also do is I create art, like album covers. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of just the act of doing that kind of figure out what helps you figure out what you want to create. So last summer I had maybe like 12 or 14 ideas or songs, and I whittled it down to 5 for that release. And they're all very different songs in terms of genre. But I really like how they blend. And Maui Tapes is something that it ended up being beach themed, which I'm from Chicago. So like, I guess the Great Lakes is kind of like that.
Oak Street Beach, maybe.
Oak Street Beach. But someone mentioned to me that, the Midwest can get really gray in the winter.
It is, yeah.
And that's brutal. So when you get sunshine for 3 months, it's a blessing. So like for me, I think the extreme of that is Hawaii and surfing and stuff like that, which I don't surf, but in my mind, that is like summer. Right. So I think it ended up being surf themed, which I thought was really cool. And so Maui Tapes was just kind of a name I had in there, and it eventually fit. So I stuck with it. It
sure beats one that I heard one time. The name of the album was called To Be Found in a Truck Stop Discount Record Bin. That was the name of the album.
Confidence is key, I guess.
Absolutely.
Or not.
What they call it, planned destiny, or, whatever.
Yeah.
How does Maui Tapes compare to your previous work?
For me, I think all my work is an ongoing process of me getting better as a musician, as a writer, as a little bit of production. The first track on it, I collaborated with a friend from high school, and he's been helping me with production a little bit, or I shouldn't say a little bit, for all of Maui Tapes and stuff in the past. So just kind of working to increase quality always, and I don't know, respecting the creative process. When I was recording, I did all of Maui Tapes with a really small solid state Fender that my friend gave me. It was just like $50. Mm-hmm. And so one thing I love is creating challenges for yourself in the creative process. Mm-hmm. So
absolutely,
that amp I couldn't distort that amp because it's solid state, or what I was doing won't work. And I'm also in an apartment, so I can't get super loud. So what I was doing was I put my reverb before my distortion to kind of to blend it. Mm-hmm. Which I could talk about the nitty gritty, but the point is that that album I was super proud of because there's a lot of challenges. I was using like soup cans as like percussion, or like birds that I recorded off the balcony, and it was just a cool experience.
That's amazing. We're going to feature a song from the Maui Tapes. First one we're going to feature is called Sock Tan, the story on Sock Tan.
Sock Tan. That one was cool because it came really, like, sometimes songs come really quickly. Sometimes they take 4 years, but that one came quick. Really, I had a lot of fun with the guitar on that one. Like I said, messing with that amp. But I really enjoyed creating the lyric video for it, which I went to New Jersey with some friends and went to this, I guess, thrift store. It was kind of more like organized garbage.
Organized clutter, yeah.
Organized clutter. Thank you. Very well organized. But I found 3 reels of Super 8. Like two were from the 70s from Hawaii, and one was from Yellowstone from the 60s. And so I had them digitized, and then I color corrected them, edited them, and created a lyric video for Socktan, which I was really proud of, because and that also lent to the Hawaii theme, which
how apropos to wind up coming across Hawaii when your thing is called Maui Tapes. How apropos.
I know, it's super weird. So I don't know. It just happened.
That's the planets aligning for you. There you go. By the way, we're going to feature the video to Socktan down in the show notes, so be sure to check that out after you hear the song here. Here is Parker Bailey, a.k.a. Runner and Bobby, with Socktan right here on the Someone You Should Know podcast. That's Parker Bailey, a.k.a. Runner and Bobby, with Socktan. Great song right there from his EP called Maui Tapes. I saw a video of you that was featured in TuneCore Tuesdays. I was fascinated by it because you were talking about the fact that you had broken your finger, and that's when you learned to play the slide guitar. Talk about making lemonade out of lemons.
Yeah, that is the worst, because I love, like, guitar for me is kind of like, I don't want to say meditative, but I just go to it when I'm trying to relax, or it's really important to me. So when you break your finger, and I had 2 fingers on my left hand, like not in a cast, which is, the worst. So I was like, how can I capitalize on this? Because I need to play and I can't use my fingers. So what I started doing is, like, the day after I got it was in gym basketball too, which is so brutal. I put the guitar on my lap and took a slide and kind of played it like a pedal steel. That's the only way I could get my hand flat. And so now I actually my pinky is permanently I can't bend it all the way.
Oh,
On
geez.
my left hand, which I guess that's some like I don't know. It's what it is. But I learned to play a slide guitar like that, and it's kind of one of my favorite styles.
Mine, it is one of my favorite styles for sure. Slide,
Mhm.
especially slide blues, is my favorite.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
and
Slide blues is like great.
so that's amazing. That's just so cool that you were able to capitalize on a shortcoming in life. That is just really cool. All right, we're going to
Thank
feature
you.
another track from Maui Tapes. This one's called Sex Wax. What's the
Yeah.
story about Sex Wax?
This one, this one. So as I was getting into this EP, I was realizing like, okay, this is kind of ending up surf for whatever reason. So that's what the songs want to be. I have to respect that. So there's a surf wax called Sex Wax,
Oh,
and
really? Yeah.
it's not. I'm not just being intentionally or flagrantly raunchy. Um, and so when I was writing and trying to get inspiration, I was like, let me look at old 60s montages of surfing. And the song and the videos didn't have any sound, but there was a band playing. I was like, what would that band be playing if I could hear them? And I wrote what's now Sex Wax. And I thought the name was cool. And the take in the song I didn't actually choose. It was
Hmm.
my last take of the night, which is why it's so uh explicit, I guess. But I was getting really frustrated because I
Hmm.
was doing it wrong. So that was my last take, which is why I started like that. But I think it's a fun song. It's one of our favorite songs to play live. So
Let's hear it right now. This is Sex Wax from Runner and Bobby featuring today's podcast guest, Parker Bailey. Great song right there. That's Sex Wax from the EP known as Maui Tapes from Runner and Bobby, featuring today's podcast guest, Parker Bailey. Playing in clubs is a great opportunity to get people interested in your music. And I'm sure you've played quite a few clubs, over the years now. And this
Mhm.
next feature is about those club gigs or concert dates that didn't go quite as planned. It's called Tales from the Road. It's those infamous road stories where things didn't go quite as planned, kind of your Spinal Tap moment. All right.
Yeah.
All right, Parker, what's your thoughts?
So the people I play with right now, Mick plays drums and Lula plays bass, and we actually met in a cover band in college where we all met. And it's actually about that one gig because I love playing with them so much. But we were prepping for this gig in a cidery, and it's like it's a nice place, and
Hmm.
we were kind of upstairs. So last minute, we were super stressed a couple hours before. We were trying to put together 3 hours of, I guess, easy listening music because we weren't sure the vibe. I mean, we're used to like garage floor, people, you have to protect your pedals, like just chaos.
Right.
One of the songs we played, we would do a version of 99 Red Balloons
Oh, yeah.
by Nina.
By Nina. Yeah.
Or I guess, yeah. Into Sedated by the Ramones.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, exactly.
That's an interesting mix,
Yeah, I will say it worked pretty well. So
God.
one of the indicators that we're going into that song, which we originally weren't going to go because it was a mellow vibe, is I click my distortion pedal, and that's loud and it's just like present. So we got to the end of 99 Lift Balloons, and everyone was kind of looking around, and it was kind of up to me whether to change the vibe. And so I clicked it, we did it, and from then on, the crowd got so rowdy in the cidery. So it went from this like, okay, we're playing cocktail jazz to like the floor is bending and we might get kicked out of here. So it was just such a funny thing. And it was cool because it kind of rewarded that risk taking in musicians where you have to read the room a little bit. And
right,
like, okay,
exactly.
Like these people want to hang out a little bit. So that was a good one. But I still play with them. And they're super talented.
Awesome. Very good. Very good. All right. We're going to talk about upcoming gigs now as we get ready for September. Labor Day's coming up, and we've also got the fall. What we've got planned for the third quarter of 2023.
So, I mean, we're playing a really cool gig with this band called Phase Wave in Columbus on October 11th. We're opening for them at the Basement. That's a ton of stuff in the work, but that's solid. So that we're definitely playing that. We're really excited. Columbus is kind of our semi-home base. So it'll be a little bit of a home game for us, which is always nice. But October 11th at the Basement in Columbus, Ohio.
All right, very good. Oh, by the way, if we wind up having any other concert dates, what social media will you be posting them to? I mean, let's talk about your socials.
Sure. So we're on Instagram. You can follow us at runner.and.bobby. If you just type in Runner and Bobby, it'll come up. It's three of us with a red icon. That's mainly where I post updates, and also on our website at www.runnerandbobby.com. So all of our show dates are in there too.
Awesome. Very good. I will include those down in the show notes so we do not miss an opportunity to check out Runner and Bobby and find out which one's Runner and which one's Bobby.
Yeah,
all right.
Exactly.
Okay. Any final thoughts you'd like to mention that we should know about you and your band?
Let's see. We like to play a lot of different. One of the hard things about playing our music is that it's so, not the hard things, but one of the things is that there's so many different genres. It's not great for marketing because you can't like get behind. At the same time, it allows us to cater our set lists. So we were going to play a punk show, but we're like, all right, let's pick our heaviest songs. So it gives you a little bit of versatility. But I guess my point to that is there's something for everyone.
There you go. Awesome. Very cool. Very cool. Final song we're going to feature is called Warmly. This is one more from the EP known as Maui Tapes. Your thoughts on Warmly? What's the story behind that one?
Warmly was the fastest song I've written in a long time. And the vocal takes in that are the first time I recorded them. Like I had the lyrics and recorded them. There's something about that. For me, it's the first takes and the like very last takes, which sounds like last take, but it's like your throwaway takes are usually the best. And that song came very quickly, and I'm very, very happy with it. And this is the song I was using. I had a Progresso soup can, and I was trying to imitate percussion, so I had a plastic knife and a Progresso soup can. And you can hear it at one point. And I was doing it in my apartment, and just an SM57 microphone. That's really all you need.
Jeez.
Lean.
It's amazing, amazing. All right, we're going to hear that song as we close up the show, and Parker Braley, it really a real treat to finally get you on the podcast here and get a chance to share your music with everybody. And I really thank you for taking the time to be on the show today.
Likewise. I mean, this was a really awesome interview, and I appreciate how much time you took to listen to everything and research. So thank you.
My pleasure. My pleasure. Here's Warmly.
quiet light and the time between few and far it always seems. Slowly setting turned away for a moment away. It never comes away that you want. I've been wrong before. Standing next to me, softly smile, gently pulls warmly. Two lives catching time for me. Have that feeling that you need, a memory you can keep in a lonely sunset sea. So wait, it never comes away that you want. I've been wrong before, standing next to me, softly smile, gently
Hi, this is Rick Anthony, thanking you again for tuning in to this episode of the Someone You Should Know podcast. Before I go, I want to share some friends of mine who also have a podcast. Give them a listen, and I invite you to check us out next time right here on the Someone You Should Know podcast. All right, here's my friends right now from the Rock and Roll Chicago podcast.
Hey, everybody, it's Ray the Roadie.
And this is Hollywood Mike
with the Rock and Roll Chicago podcast, coming to you from the Illinois Rock and Roll Museum on Route 66 in Joliet, Illinois.
Where once a week we are interviewing local musicians and singer-songwriters. And the podcast itself covers a wide range of topics, including, but not limited to, the history of rock and roll in Chicago, the current state of the scene, and the challenges and opportunities facing musicians today.
So join us every Tuesday for a new exciting episode of the Rock and Roll Chicago podcast.